feeling today?
Not good, man. People keep coming in asking stupid questions, thinking that they're nerds, but I know more than they do.
Oh, jeez. Only there was somebody that we could call that could help.
Oh, but there is. Hi, my name is Bryan from Keeping Up with the Nerds, and I'm here to show you all our newest preventative program that'll guarantee your happiness. We're the Nerdbusters, an information service helpline that's here to help you weed out the normies in your social spaces. But don't just take it from me. Here are my colleagues to explain more.
Did you know that 1 in every 3 people spread misinformation about your favorite comic book franchise?
But not with us, the Nerdbusters. You get 100% accuracy all the time. For only $5 a call, our team will be able to answer any question over the phone. Nerdbusters. Yeah, he potentially could kill her, but he would just have to wear a kryptonite condom. But it would kill him too.
No, we're not that type of phone line. Don't call here again. Nerdbusters. No, he doesn't shoot webs out of his ass.
Nerdbusters. No, it's not weird that they share a bed. He's the Dark Knight, damn it. Savior of Gotham.
What? No, we're not that type of service. For how much? You got Venmo?
Need other options besides these ones? Want something a little tougher? Order our deluxe package.
Hello, sir. How can I help you?
Yeah. I just wanted to state my unnecessary opinion and let you know that the new Crow trailer looks so much better than the old movie.
Yeah, Buster makes me feel good.
What? What? That's not the...
Stop banging on Darla with that one. And that's the game. So what are you waiting for? Call us for your free consultation.
That's right. Call us at 1-866-BUSTED
Or email us at bustynerds@aol.com.
AOL.
Busty Nerds.
That-
AOL is what bothers you.
Yes.
Now Busty Nerds.
It was the only thing available.
You couldn't make a Gmail?
But AOL is like the first thing I found.
Why are you judging me?
What? I'm not judging you.
I only found AOL.
Busty as the number. We gotta reconsider everything.
Maybe. Let's close the commercial. Come on.
No, he's in.
Recording at 12920 Philadelphia Street, Whittier, California at Undercity Comics. Keeping Up with the Nerds presents issue 191. My name is Bryan.
Renee.
And welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen.
We just got back from the movie.
Literally just
Oh, I was about to burp right now. I was like, no.
I thought you said I'm about to bust.
Honestly, that would have been a better joke. Should have said I was about to bust.
Dang
In
it.
context, dude.
Oh, no context needed.
Welcome back,
Yes.
ladies and gentlemen, to issue 191 of
Also,
Keeping Up with the Nerds.
welcome back, Bryan.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Sean, for covering the last week's show. It
Yeah.
was a great show. I listened to it all. Literally, as soon as it was
He literally
uploaded
took
on
a
website.
shot for you.
Yeah, he did, which I'd like to address.
It's so great because immediately afterwards I talked to Bryan because I put the podcast and the skit together and I went to go drop it off at Bryan's because he was like, oh, I have the intro and I'll put everything else on it. Okay. And I'm like, all right, cool. And the first thing I told him is I was like, man, you did Sean dirty. Like,
I felt bad.
Sean, I go, bro, why? Sean lost because of you. And he was like, and then, you know what the messed up thing is, Sean? He immediately goes, it was the creator, wasn't it?
Yeah. No, I knew what it was. So, so
like,
in my head,
wasn't it?
in my head, I legitimately thought that I messed you up badly, like that I cost you the competition by like 3 or 4 points. And I'm like, God dang it, dude, I should have done better. Like, I actually felt really bad. I genuinely felt bad.
I was messing with you.
I told Nick, I'm like, dude, I got to apologize to Sean. And I'm listening this whole time. I'm listening to the episode, and I'm just like,
It was close.
These people gaslit me. Like, they did me dirty.
Gaslit.
No,
I
he
gaslit
gaslit
so hard.
Yeah.
And so I felt like, and I got like upset. I was just like, what the hell is this? Like, why are you gaslighting me? Because you even said the same thing.
Super funny.
And then I'm listening to it going like, oh yeah, so it was tied points between you and Rene. And I'm like, so then he had a chance. So what was the costing point that lost you the whole thing?
He wasn't quick on the draw.
You weren't quick on the draw. And then you reviewed the footage thinking that, you lifted your hand at first and you didn't, right? So it was your fault.
Wait, hold on. You went back to rewatch the footage?
Yes.
Sean's in studio.
Did you really thought you won? And I was cheating? Because I was. No, I'm just
like, why? Like, why? I felt bad. Now this is why I hold my feelings in now. Why do you think I'm always angry? Because I get gaslit into this kind of crap, dude.
It was so funny.
It was messed up. I don't care anymore. You know what? I hope, and you know what? It's your fault for not filling it out. I gave you the sheet.
You know what?
And you didn't do it.
Way to blame the victim.
Yeah.
That's fine, dude.
Way to
all
Dan
the
Schneider.
evidence is laid out right there, dude.
Way to Dan Schneider.
No.
You've
Trust
been
me.
Schneidered.
No. Because trust me. Not even close. And then he asked me afterwards because we went to the Santa Fe luncheon to go talk about the festival, which, by the way, guys, April 24th and 25th, right? Yes. So if you guys are in the Santa Fe area, go check it out. It's the Art Crawl Festival. We're going to be hosting an event, as said by Nick, Rene, and Sean last week. We're still working out the details, but once we finalize everything, we'll be posting it up on our social media sites. So if you guys are interested in learning more about it, there is a website, keepingupwiththenerds.com. Socials, Instagram, x.com, and I think Facebook got deactivated. I don't know if it did.
Maybe.
Probably.
There was
It's not deactivated. It's just
we haven't used
it has no traffic.
So we'll just use Instagram and x.com for the time being. Check out our YouTube channel at Keeping Up with the Nerds and listen to our podcast audio platforms wherever you guys get your podcasts, including Podbean, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. We'll be posting the details on the Santa Fe Springs Art Crawl Festival as soon as it gets done and announcing the guests that we have on there once we finalize a couple things.
Also, guys, it's also a chance for you to meet all the nerds at one spot.
Except Nick, because he's still going to be a cardboard cutout.
You know what? I thought about it. I thought about taking the wig. I really did. I thought about taking the wig and then like having a fake beard and then just like
a fake beard over your beard.
Yeah, over my beard.
So here's
and then just be walking around and be like, yeah, bro, like I've never seen Nick.
So here's
like,
what
he's
you
just
need
a
to do.
mystery figure.
Here's what you need to do.
And then right before we do the live podcast, it was me the whole time.
So here's what you do. When we do, because there's going to be a live podcast that we're going to try to do there, okay? That's our end goal. You should just come up, okay, with the wig and call yourself Nikki Stanicki.
Did you watch it?
No, I got it.
You haven't
I had to
watched it
cancel
yet?
my Prime. Yeah, so I'm waiting until Fallout comes back to put it back. Because I
Roadhouse too. Because
Roadhouse is on there, but Invincible came out, Roadhouse came out, Ricky Stanicki's out there,
Yeah,
The
The
Boys.
Boys is gonna start.
But I'm waiting until April for Fallout because I do the yearly plan. I don't do the monthly. It charges me more that way, so I'm just like, it's not worth it. I don't buy enough, so it's like, it only makes sense that way. Just bring your cardboard cutout, dude.
What I do is I always just apply to a class I never show up to.
Boba Nick.
Boba Nick.
So what I do is I always sign up for a class I never show up to over at ELAC, and then I type it in as a student.
What's the point of that?
Because then you get it. Because
still
Prime
get
is
credit.
students are free at Prime.
So do you pay for the class?
You drop it.
You just have to sign up, show that you're enrolled.
I see what you do. I see what you mean. Okay.
All
All that effort for free Prime or for a lower price Prime.
Well, that's not lower price. It's free.
No, it's free. Yeah,
It's free.
It's free.
I thought it was.
I had a buddy
$69.
that
With a student account, it's free.
I had a buddy that wanted to use my Prime account. I'm like, okay, no problem. He's like, hey, you get it cheaper or free if I just sign in that I'm a student and stuff. I'm like, okay, go ahead. And I didn't pay for Prime for a good 2 years, 3 years.
All you have to do is just, and so that way your student account doesn't go off. You just register for a class. Mm-hmm. And then once you register for the class, it automatically assumes that you're there, and then you drop the class. Huh. Because it says that you're still active.
We're not condoning that you do that. But if you do that, I mean...
This is what you've heard on the Reddit forums.
This is what I've heard on Reddit.
Oh, yeah, the last time you checked 4chan.
Why would I check 4chan?
You tell me, dude.
Yeah, what is it?
If I wanted
AOL?
Listen, there are other places. If I wanted to find porn, I can go somewhere else.
That's what you do on 4chan?
I do that on Twitter.
Really? Yeah, Twitter is a better place.
Twitter's no longer in existence, dude. It's x.com.
X. Well, why do you think it's
called X?
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah. Did you see the speaking of X?
Yeah.
Did you see the interview with Elon Musk and Don Lemon, where he what was it? Where like he just got up and he walked out?
No.
Who walked out?
Where Elon Musk got up and walked out. So
he Kanye Wested the whole thing?
He did. So Don Lemon was interviewing Elon Musk because he was going to be doing a show on X's platform. Okay. He was going to have like a news show. So the first thing he said is he goes, it would be great if I could interview the CEO. Mm-hmm. Ask him about all the changes, do everything like that. So he sent him questions. And then Elon Musk is like, okay, cool. He sat down with him. And then the first question he goes, so how do you feel that X has turned into a right-wing space where people are spreading misinformation and it is not being policed? And you just see Elon Musk just like go, that wasn't a question I knew that was coming. And then he goes, I would love to hear your answer for that. And he just kind of pushes him and keeps pushing for an answer. Like, what are you going to do about the fact that it's becoming a right-wing place? And he was just like, I never wanted to have this interview. I did it because you were on my platform, and I don't want to do this interview anymore. And he got up and he walked out.
Which makes sense. You know what?
And then Don Lemon went, post that. And he posted it up online, and then he got a text message from Elon Musk saying, contract canceled.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And the show got canceled.
Here's the thing. I understand the push to get an answer from Elon to kind of like have him explain why the platform is...
He's a joke.
Yeah, it is. But at the same time, that's entrapment in a way with questions, because anything he says at that point, if it's not thought out correctly, can be used against him in a negative way.
It's called the internet.
It's called the internet.
Yeah, but also, you will never answer this question.
No, of course not.
Nobody will ever ask you. You will not allow this question to be asked.
So then you're left to assume, which is kind of the same thing, because we're going to briefly talk about this, but it's kind of the same thing with like Dan Schneider and Quiet on Set. You know, it's the same. Yeah. Exactly, it's his exact same response.
No, it's not. That response was bull.
No, exactly. It was his attempt at.
He wasn't even.
He wasn't sorry about any of it.
He was just acknowledging what he did.
He was trying to justify the reasons in his actions, which made no sense.
Yeah.
Before we get to that, though, real quick. So this podcast essentially is going to be, or this issue, we don't call it a podcast. What am I talking about? Gone for a week and I'm mislabeling everything. We got comic strips. It's a pretty lengthy one, but I think we can get through it pretty well.
And just take it inch by inch.
Why?
You said it was lengthy.
Yeah.
Take it. Is that what you do?
Yeah, you got to you always have to relax, and then you take it inch, and then you take the next inch, and then you take the next inch, and then you relax, and you take the next inch.
And then don't forget, you keep breathing too.
And then you got to take deep breaths, and then you'll get through it.
And you're good. You're done. We got comic strips. We are also going to be talking about Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire, which we just finished watching right now. Yeah, we'll give our full review of that one. It
was good.
But
it was good.
That's your review.
Skip to the end.
You're going to say the same thing. It was good.
All right, guys, let's wrap up this issue.
Wrap it up.
But you guys did mention you guys wanted to talk about Quiet on Set once every epised basically aired. It was a 4-parter, 2 episodes every day.
Yeah, that's
they burned through that show.
Yeah. I think I think they really wanted to get it all out there.
Which is fine. And I think I mentioned this to you because we briefly talked about it.
Yeah.
I wasn't a fan of how they directed the documentary. It was informative, but it felt a little bit off because it was very much on Dan Schneider's career in Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
And so my question was the direction of this documentary to basically say Nickelodeon from 1997, I think it was, to 2014 or wherever his basically he was let go.
Yeah.
Was that the era? Was Nickelodeon Studios Dan Schneider?
Yes.
Yes.
So if that's the case, then if that's the thesis of that entire documentary, I can buy that.
I feel like what happened was the documentary wasn't about that. I feel like the documentary was about Nickelodeon and the era of Dan Schneider.
Yeah.
And because the beginning is all about Dan Schneider. It's all about like how he got up, how he got to the position he's in, yada yada yada. And then the more people they talk to, you can see where the conspiracies are. You can see where the you can see where the miscontent is, and like where people put a blind eye, and where people didn't say anything, and he was doing illegal things and everything else. And it was one of those things of like, wow, this is a vastly different. Like we stumbled into something vastly different.
What you thought of it, watching it growing up, is now completely different as an adult when you start to see what was going on behind the scenes.
I stopped watching Nickelodeon before iCarly and all those other shows, so I never had seen any of the other things like Ariana Grande, Sam and Cat, all those things. I had already stopped.
I stopped watching Nickelodeon right after Victorious. It was like the first 3-4 seasons.
Didn't even watch that.
I watched those. Yeah, I watched those. Those were Victorious was an interesting show, but that's where I now noticed it was like right after iCarly. You start watching Victorious, you start noticing like the innuendos more.
I wasn't even into iCarly. I stopped maybe like 2 seasons into Drake and Josh.
Yeah.
So Drake and Josh was after the fact. I didn't watch Drake and Josh until probably into high school. The only show that I really watched religiously was iCarly.
I was more of a Drake and Josh kid.
Yeah, so I didn't grow up with Drake and Josh.
I watched two seasons of Drake and Josh, and then I switched to Cartoon Network.
So
I watched Cartoon Network pretty religiously.
So
after that.
I'll say this: nothing in the documentary really shocked me to the point that I felt like, there was one thing, but all of it was just kind of like, yeah, I could see this happening. It sucks.
Yeah.
And it's good that this stuff is being exposed out there in public because, people need to know the kind of garbage and essentially like the devil's work that's going behind kids' television in that era.
I think what not shocked me, but just made me feel so bad and terrible feeling was just everything that was happening, and the parents were aware, but they were so scared to speak up.
They were gaslit into a way of believing
that was the other thing too, because I was telling you guys, my mom was so I was making dinner, and my mom is making cookies because she's also going to be going to Santa Fe, and so she's starting to like kind of get her cookie designs ready.
Cool.
And so she was doing her cookies, and I was in the kitchen, and then I have Quiet on Set on, and then she's listening, and she goes, where are these parents? Like, I don't understand where they were. How is it that so-and-so had this much access? How is it that so-and-so was trusted so much? Because I didn't know this. And then she goes, I was there. What? And she goes, yeah, I was there. And I go, I need you to, like, explain this.
Yeah, you need to.
And then she goes, the school that Amanda Bynes went to, I sent your brother to when he was a kid. And it was an acting class that they did in downtown LA, and it was at a comedy club. And then they would teach them comedy. They would teach them how to do comedy and how to do stand-up. And it was like an acting class because when Justin was really little, I guess he wanted to be an actor. So then she took him, and she goes, I was there. She goes, you were even there. You were in a what was it? You were
Baby Nick.
You were in a stroller. Yeah. But she goes, I sat through the entire class. She goes, I never once let him stay by himself. I was always there, and I never, ever allowed him to be anywhere else.
So can I ask this then real quick? Because this was a factor that was mentioned at least like a couple times on the documentary. At the time, was your family essentially sending Justin to participate in these classes because that's what his interest was, or was there a financial situation that
it was his interest?
It was his interest because the factor was that a lot of
them
parents,
were financial.
Exactly, they were kind of being dependent on these kids to make money.
But the thing is that because she put it in a good way, even if that was your main source of income, like you were gonna use your kid to then make money. Wouldn't you protect that source?
You would, but
but wouldn't you protect them? Wouldn't you be saying, "Hey, this is wrong. Hey, you shouldn't be doing that. Hey, that's not right."
Yeah.
Because that is my primary source of income, and if something happens to them, I lose that income. So she was very much on the form of, that's just negligence. Those are parents that did not want to be parents, and they were just sending their kid off because they didn't want to deal with them.
Yeah, and I think because Rene and I were talking about this earlier this week, where this is a product of that time where, you know, a lot of essentially TV had those jokes, especially sitcoms, those jokes that had innuendos in them, more adult. And I think that what ended up happening was Dan Schneider kind of took those aspects from adult TV or more mature TV and tried to bring it into a kid's show and thought that they can get away with it. Not only that, but I mean, it's only recently, a couple decades ago, that women had the privilege to get more rights to be able to work in industries that they never really worked in. So to kind of hear them say that, you know, women in the early 2000s weren't looked as professional writers for a sitcom or some sort of TV production, that's not shocking. We're not that far away in history where women didn't have rights. And it's a sad aspect of it. I think that they should, because there are a lot of talented women out there in the industry that can do a lot more.
But the thing is that they had already had that. They just didn't. They were unaware from their union, because like the two women writers that were on the show, that were on the Amanda show, there were two women writers, and then Dan Schneider hired them on, and he said, I only have a salary for one, so you have to split the salary,
which is complete BS.
Yeah. And then he hired a brand new person after the first season and gave them a full salary, and they had no credits to their name, anything like that. And he even, as they came in, said, women aren't funny, there is no funny people, and essentially I'm hiring you as kind of like a gimmick, so that way I can say I have women that are in the writing room.
There's two other segments that we do have to cover before we move on to some other topics, but let's talk about the Drake Bell interview, which was episode 3. All right, real quick.
Should have been episode 4.
It should have been the last episode, because after that big ball that was dropped of Drake admitting to what happened to him, the 4th episode was very much kind of like, okay, we're just kind of wrap up Dan Schneider at this point and stuff like that.
But then they revisited again in episode 4, and it was like he was Icarus essentially, and he flew too close to it. I did mention this to you. I didn't buy Drake's bit at the beginning. I thought that he was acting a little too much. But then when the producer asked him, it's like, what exactly happened? Yeah. Like there was this genuine fear in his eyes, and I'm like, wait, this man's not lying. Like this man's like actually went through it. And that was the moment where I saw him differently, because I mean, like, you can't define him by his previous actions. Like you can to a point.
You could tell the way when he brings up growing up in Nickelodeon and stuff like that, you could tell that he doesn't really want to talk about it, because there was a TikTok that recently went over that people were looking at that on Josh Peck's on Josh Peck's YouTube channel, and when they talked about when they lost their virginities for the first time, and this was after that whole fiasco of Josh not inviting Drake to the wedding, you know, that whole drama and stuff, and then they rekindled again. And it was just, Josh didn't think anything of it at the time because he didn't know, but he was like, oh yeah, let's talk about a video of our first times and stuff like that.
And then and he's literally because Josh tells him his part, and he's like, what do you think? What was it like? Regret? Was it like you want a do-over, or like were you excited and everything like that? And he goes, it was definitely the first two. You know, I would definitely want to get that
was Drake
do-over.
talking.
And he was like, I would want to do a do-over, you know, and it was definitely an experience for me. And he was like kind of beating around the bush,
and then talking about the essay assault,
and he was talking about the essay, and then at the very end he goes, it was with my girlfriend at the time. And then he was like, so it was like one of those things of like, we can keep on doing this. And then he was like, but like, you know, she was a little more conservative and everything else, and you know, we did that one time, and then, you know, maybe we did it a couple more. So he is talking about the essay, but he's not referencing it, and and you can tell he's super awkward about it, because he's talking about a very vulnerable time in his life, and he doesn't know how to say this on camera, and he even inside of the interview said, I've never told anybody this.
I also found it interesting that when they finally found out, well, you know, what happened to him, it was his girlfriend's mother that essentially pointed it out and saying like,
there's something wrong.
Yeah, there's something wrong here because a 40-year-old man doesn't call my daughter's boyfriend like
40
that.
times.
Yeah, like that.
So let's move on to the last part of it, which were the responses, and I think the biggest one to talk about is Dan Schneider's response because I think not that the documentary was funny.
Really quick, so did you guys hear that the Ned Declassified podcast made a remark before the documentary dropped, and then now like they're getting backlash over it or something like that?
What was the?
I heard
what was
something
the?
about it.
I don't know. That's the thing. I was trying to find. I think they
Does Sean have
deleted
it? Sean, do you know it?
They were making a joke.
Yeah,
Like a really tasteless joke.
Yeah,
I think
but it was before the documentary dropped, right?
I thought it was after.
Was it after?
I think it was after.
I think it was a little bit after
because they didn't watch
Yeah.
it yet. I know that they admitted on a recent episode. They admitted like we watched it now and we realized that was a tasteless joke.
What
and
was the
stuff like-
tasteless joke?
Yeah,
Something about SA and how they're laughing about it.
I think
It was-
I think it was towards Drake or something. Like
Yeah,
that.
I think they were because I think they were kind of shining.
I see what you mean.
They it was a touchy subject,
Yeah.
and no matter what, they shouldn't have joked about it because on their podcast they do kind of joke around the fact that they were teen actors that were put in a lot of adult positions and a lot of adult situations.
Well, they also admitted that they also had sex on set, like
several
within the
like,
cast members of them. Yeah,
14,
when they were
15 years old.
Yeah, like Ned and Mose hooked up a lot.
Yeah, and he
him
even,
on set and stuff like that.
Yeah, and then what was it? What was that one? I remember seeing a TikTok of it where he goes, "Oh yeah, would you rather have sex or would you rather do dome?" And then he goes, "Oh well, obviously sex because you're not good at the other one." And she goes, "Wow, like you're gonna take the first time I ever did it, like as it." And he goes, "Well, I didn't finish." And she goes,
That was on their podcast.
That was on their podcast.
And then she then goes, "That's cool because neither did I."
Dang.
So their dreams of wanting a Ned Declassified sequel series is long gone.
It's long gone.
That was long gone before they did the podcast.
That's why they did the podcast.
Because they did the podcast as soon as what is it? Well, it was a little before Zoe 101's movie
Zoe
came
102.
out. Yeah, 102.
Yeah.
So
And no one asked for
Let
it.
me finish the statement real quick because you left me hanging. I was like, it's not that the documentary was funny. So the documentary wasn't funny, but there was a part that kept me laughing, which was every time they would mention Dan Schneider's accusations, it would black out, and then it was Dan Schneider's remark or her response.
His response
is like,
when asked,
he would like to say that nothing that had happened on set that was stated actually happened. It was actually this.
Well,
or
in
that
order for them to
told.
put the documentary out, they had to.
But
they had to put out a response of him.
What his response
Exactly,
was.
which I understand, but it's just it felt like kind of like, Dan, what are you trying to say here? Like, there's
that's the
multiple
thing.
accounts saying
he denied everything. That's
exactly.
What was so wild was the idea of him going like, the scripts had to get approved. It went through the censor board.
Yeah.
Execs at Nickelodeon had to say
people
yes.
had to see it to say, hey, put it out.
He goes, there wasn't anything I put on screen that nobody didn't approve of.
But that's the thing. And
From higher up.
And we talked about it too, is that the studio execs are not going to question Dan Schneider because he's bringing in the views. He's bringing in the money. That's the thing.
He's Big Papa there.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, why, he's been doing it for 3+ years at the time, like 5+ years.
People are just approving.
Yeah, he's like, okay, just put it through. It's dance work. It's funny and people love it anyways and stuff like that.
So, I mean, I saw Dan's response
his video. Yeah.
And
mind you, his interviewee that he got is the smoothie guy from iCarly.
Yeah, so
I thought he would get someone of some sort of journalism,
a third party or someone that could actually.
I just thought, not only that, but also of the stars all the stars you've worked with,
the smoothie guy.
The smoothie guy was the only guy that was like, "Listen, Dan, I need some work." And
that's the thing I don't understand about it, because like there's practicing questions and screening questions prior to an interview, and then they're setting up a response video to kind of clear the air about what happened.
Yeah.
And I don't think that Dan has earned any sort of justification to respond the way that he did.
Yeah.
There's no reason why you should justify the behaviors that you did or why you did certain things on set.
I don't know why.
I don't buy it.
Like he needed to do a video with his dye job of a beard and hair. You could tell.
Yeah.
the only thing is that the worst part about, and I do feel like Dan is a bit of a sociopath.
Yes.
He's not.
Because my thing was that, for one, he had no remorse.
No.
There was absolutely no remorse in his words.
He didn't show any worried.
He wasn't
what happened.
Yeah, he wasn't worried about anybody else. He was more worried about how this would affect his job.
Yeah.
It wasn't
His
about the
future
other
careers,
people.
yeah.
It wasn't about anything else. It was about Dan.
Did he actually apologize to Drake in that interview? No, right?
No.
He didn't feel sorry for it.
But to Drake's point, he did say the only person that he felt was in his corner and, knew what was happening and he felt like was, respecting the situation was Dan.
Okay.
So he did say that in the documentary, which is fine. That's perfectly fine. He was a human being. Dan was a human being about it. Congratulations. But the fact that he was a monster to everybody else that was below him that couldn't make him money,
it was that.
It makes it everything else egregious.
And all the all the females in his life, you could tell that he treated them just dirt and just
like garbage.
And as a symbol, as this little sex symbol.
There are points to
not only that, but also I was hearing a lot of apparently a lot of what Amanda Bynes is saying is that she was impregnated by her boss when she was 13.
And had to get an abortion.
And she was forced to get an abortion.
So we're assuming it's Dan?
That's who her boss was when she was 13.
I feel like Dan's response is very much of, listen, I've used up the money that Nickelodeon used to get me out of the situation.
Wait, you used up $7 million you were bought out to leave?
Over 8 years.
And you were given millions of dollars over the years?
What did you think of investing or something?
What did you
know
what?
I wouldn't be surprised, dude. And then
Dude,
he's probably looking for more jobs in the network. Why would you care to try to even mention that you want to go back to TV? You're done.
Yeah.
You're essentially done.
You're out.
Yeah.
But you're trying to recuperate and go back into the industry?
It was almost as bad as the Kevin Spacey video.
Yeah,
it was almost as bad. When Kevin Spacey came back and he was just like, "Oh, didn't you miss me?" And we were like, "No, we didn't. No, you should really stay in that cabin you're living in."
All those circles that what is it? Because they mentioned Bryan Singer, but in the documentary they're like, "Oh yeah, there was parties there and Bryan Singer was there and Brian Peck was there." That's Kevin Spacey also hung out with Bryan Singer in those parties.
They all knew. They knew what each other were up to. I do have to say though. So we sent it over. I sent it over to Rene, and then Rene sent it to everybody else. There was a response from Will Furnell and William Strong. They were the two cast members from Boy Meets World, and because they were called out. In the middle of the podcast, in the middle of the documentary, and they were saying they wrote letters for Peck, and so they actually addressed it a month ago. So they talked about this a month ago beforehand, kind of to preemptively go, "Hey, this is our situation, and this is what happened." So what they said was Dan brought them. I mean, not Dan. Peck brought them to his house. And he explained to them that the boy was 17 and that he had been that the boy had been flirting with him. And that that the boy kept on hitting on him and kept on hitting on him and kept on trying to basically assault him. And then he said, and then there was one day I just gave in.
So he was jailbaited.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
So that's what he told the guys. And the guys then said, "Oh, well, obviously we'll write letters because that's not in your character to do that." Yeah. So they then wrote letters and then went to court with him.
Yeah.
As character witnesses. And they then said, "We back then did not have Google." This is in the early 2000s. Yeah.
The internet was still being kind of.
It was not as easy for us to go back because he only admitted to one charge. He was he was arrested on 14 charges of SA, but he was only in prison for one charge. And the one charge was SAing a minor. And that's what he had told them, that he was 17, he was barely underage, that he's coming after him and he's the victim and everything else. Yeah. And that's why. But they then said, "Oh, we feel terrible because it's something that we've always had to live with, of the whole factor of we were in the courtroom and then the victim's mother was talking to us about how could you guys defend this.
Yeah. All we could really say, actually, you know what, before we wrap it up, Sean, do you have any thoughts on the documentary? No? Yeah. Shake your head.
I feel like Nickelodeon groomed me after watching that documentary.
Why do you say that?
I see what you mean.
Just the subliminal messaging and like, you know, the situations that the kids were put in, because when I was a kid, I always wanted to be a member of all that. That was like the show I wanted to be on. And now I'm seeing all this stuff come out and like what was going on behind the scenes. Like,
thank God you weren't.
Yeah. And it's really unfortunate that this is just a standard in the film and movie industry, you know, like,
unfortunately.
You know,
I wouldn't say it's a standard, but it was a practice back then.
No, but
Weinstein, you know, a bunch of people, and those are
in all fairness, that was kind of like because at the very end of the documentary, that was very much the thesis of there is not enough protections for kids, for child actors in any of these, in TV, in movies, in anything else, because they do hire people that are child essayers. They do hire these people that they know of because they have contacts, and then they put them in awkward situations. Because even Will Ferrell said, he goes, I don't know how he got on another set in general. Because I think it was Drake Bell. Drake Bell said it. He goes, I thought his career was over, and then he got hired again because
for Sweet Life and Zack and Cody.
Yeah, because no matter what, any shoot you go on, there's going to be a child. He goes, movie, TV, anything. He goes, there's a child running around somewhere on the show or in the movie. So obviously his career is over, and he goes, and I was wrong. He goes, he was back to work right after he got out of jail.
Yeah. To wrap up this topic, if you haven't seen Quiet on Set, it is on Max and on Hulu. If you guys have Hulu with commercials, just go on Max on there, and all four of them are on there. But definitely recommend you watch it, especially if you grew up with the Nickelodeon shows. Now, if you guys don't want the shows to be tainted at all, tough, you know.
Yeah,
that's tough, but you gotta do it.
You're kind of living in a bubble then.
Yeah.
Fantasy world.
Yeah. You know what's funny? I grew up with no cable for like the first couple of years of my life, so a lot of TV for me was like old sitcoms. So I watched a lot of like Cheers and Friends.
Oh, you don't want to know about Cheers.
Really? I was gonna be like, no, dude.
I'm about to ruin Cheers for you.
Cheers is like a fundamental. Yeah, no,
Sean,
dude.
I saw Sean literally. I saw Sean literally behind this thing, and he goes, "What?"
Dude, like, Cheers is no, dude. You don't mess. If Cheers ever gets ruined for me, that's like my cornerstone of like everything. Cheers for me changed my life, dude. That was my all that.
Alcoholism.
For me, it was Seinfeld.
Seinfeld?
When I watched Seinfeld as a kid,
I really got pushed into watching Seinfeld as a kid, and I'm like, I couldn't get into it.
Mine was Home Improvement.
Oh, you really?
Oh, yeah.
I'm a Home Improvement kid.
Okay, makes sense. That makes sense.
So it's just what ruined that was just Tim Allen being a Republican.
You know, I have Tim Allen's autograph at home.
Yeah,
you do?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. We've had this conversation when we talked about.
Well, he
Santa
didn't know.
Claus.
All right, so I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, he knew. He just.
I was.
What did you say? Oh, you do?
I was being a good co-host.
You want to pat yourself on the back, dude? He's like, there you go. Look at it, dude.
I
prefer the realism instead of lying in my face.
All right,
gaslighting me again.
Shut your mouth and go to comic strips.
Comic strips, the portion of the show where we talk about topics that don't merit a 10 to 15 minute conversation. And you're already going to go to the restroom?
I'm diabetic, okay? I finished this.
The beatus is kicking in.
I gotta go.
Does it still smell?
Okay, so we'll start with this. Helldivers, people. You got two of them here anyways, so why not? Let's just start off with that. Helldiver 2 devs have officially banned sex because players failed their last major order. What I find funny, I had to do some research on it.
What do you mean? What?
So you guys apparently had a major order that was failed.
Yes.
And so I was researching this because I'm just like, I didn't know you could have sex in a video game. This makes no sense. But it was written in a message, and it's kind of like not subliminally like put in there. It's just said like a science fiction nerd would say it. So this was the message you guys got after failing the message.
Yes.
Through many termids, or however you pronounce that, terminids, have been mercifully filled, the Helldivers were able to penetrate as far inside the quarantine zone as ordered. The expansion of our citizens to new planets will be reduced in line with the reduction of expected element 710 to be produced. Further procreation applications will be denied until further notice.
Oh, because they're repopulating the planet.
Basically, but you guys can't have sex anymore to repopulate the planet.
No.
So you guys are ordered to go touch grass.
Only half of the section of the sector got. Okay, here's what happened.
Oh, okay. We're gonna try to justify the fact that you guys couldn't complete your orders.
Hold on.
Where were you?
I was on the battlefield. Where were you? I was there.
Super Earth, because the ODSTs aren't allowed to drop.
I was there. All right.
You didn't see the kind of crap I saw.
Yeah, you didn't put like bugicide on them and then watch them mutate and then turn into giant bats, did you?
That sucks, dude. Maybe tell the freaking whatever organization's doing this to recruit us, because I'd be on the front lines.
You know why?
Why?
Because they know.
They know what?
They know it's a waste of time.
Why? The ODSTs? Don't even start. Don't even start. Don't even start.
Hey.
You know what?
I'm on the front line.
I feel
Where
like
are you?
at home until they release it on Xbox. I'm perfectly fine with that. So I did also read that the devs are asking the player base how to fix the meta problem that they have, which is kicking players out who don't have meta loadouts. And I guess that they're trying to convince the devs to start targeting the samples that you guys get per mission.
That would hurt.
Yeah. So I think that's what they're trying to push.
That would hurt so much if you kick people. You know what? Honestly, that would be interesting. What about if it cut your samples in half? If you murder everybody and then jump into a thing?
No, it's because they're kicking up. Because can you guys kick players before the mission starts?
You can. You can kick players. Yeah.
So then, how do you determine if a player's being kicked because the player base is being, a bunch of...
It's impossible.
Exactly.
Because the player could be. We kicked two people the other day, but that was just because two of our buddies wanted to play and they were two randoms.
Which is acceptable. That's fine.
I mean, it was pretty messed up because we were halfway done with the mission and then we kicked them.
Okay, see, that's where it should be punishable.
Hey, man, my buddies want to play.
That sucks.
Sorry, buddy.
No,
you gotta go.
I think
that's how that goes.
I personally think that if you guys are kicking players halfway through a mission, target your guys' samples.
That's not my fault though. Missions are 2 hours.
That sucks. Tell your buddies to get on earlier.
They have work. They have lives.
Oh, yeah, exactly. But
I don't want to play with these dudes. I want to play with my friends.
Okay, so then don't start the mission until your buddies get on there.
No, I gotta protect.
Nah, I'm sorry. I'm for that whole cutting samples. That's where I'm gonna go. No, that's where my vote goes.
No, that's a terrible idea.
Where can I sign up? I gotta do this. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna make
sounds like robot propaganda to me.
That does sound like robot propaganda.
That sounds like robot propaganda.
All right, fine. You know what? I hope the robots get you next, and that way you guys can not
sounds like some
procreate any longer, dude.
In all fairness, the mission that we had to do was we had to clear 8 planets.
And you failed.
We cleared 6.
And you failed. 6 is not 8.
So what he's saying is that you didn't do your part.
Exactly.
We definitely did our part. I helped.
But you failed. So you technically didn't do your part.
I was on.
I never started it, so I never failed.
I was on comic strips. I was on
part of comic strips.
When
Court
when it was
is closed. Guilty.
No,
both of you.
You have no idea what you're talking about. These are words coming out of your mouth. You have no idea what they are.
This is what's stated on here. What do you want me to say?
These are,
speaking about robots,
it's like Chinese.
What?
It's like Chinese coming out of your mouth.
No, that's
you
racist.
have no idea what's coming out. You have no idea what you're saying.
OpenAI will be meeting with Hollywood studios and talent agencies within the coming weeks to sell them on Sora. For those that don't know what Sora is, it's OpenAI. Huh?
What?
Every time they say Sora, I keep thinking the same thing, and I'm like, what?
Sora. Goofy.
Stupid Donald not healing me when he needs to. Basically, Sora.
Oh baby.
You done?
You know.
Simple and clean. Yeah, no, I'm done. So Sora is a text-to-image software that can create realistic and imaginative scenes from text instructions. Mm-hmm. Per Bloomberg, which is where this article is coming from, they have scheduled several introductory conversations in Hollywood to start rolling out the phases safely into the industry. OpenAI will also be open to ongoing dialogue with artists and creatives. They've also announced that Sora will be available to the public sometime within the coming months. We've talked about AI here on the show before. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing. I've seen the videos that Sora can create because they're about a minute long. Uh-huh. The Keyblade Master is not Sora, dude. Dude, he's tried, man. You know what sucked is playing Kingdom Hearts 3 and then being told Sora.
Mandy's played Kingdom Hearts 3 and she
I've never finished it.
Yeah, no, she's going back to it, but she hates the level she hated was the Frozen one.
It's stupid.
Yeah, and then
well, because it was cut.
Well, no, that
was a lot that was cut out of it.
Well, because I saw her play the mission, and you go up to all the way to the top of the mountain just to get thrown down. And you have to climb up the mountain again. I'm like,
it's an ice cave.
Yeah,
it's an ice cave, which is dumb.
No, I think we went over this when the game came out. Yeah. But yeah, it was vastly changed.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't know what to do with it, which is disappointing because I was hyped for Kingdom Hearts 3. That's not what we're talking about, though. We're talking about Sora from OpenAI.
This is more interesting.
But I will say this. As far as AI goes, we continue to believe that AI could be used as a tool. And I understand where OpenAI is coming from, where they're trying to sell it as like, yes, these could be used to make your lives better in the industry because we've seen it in The Mandalorian, where they use those big screens to kind of volume. And they're using Unreal 4, I think, but now it's Unreal 5 that they're trying to use. But to make realistic backdrops, where if you like follow it with a camera, it's able to change the perspective of the screens.
It changes perspective and lighting.
That's a form of AI. But again, if executives are coming in going like, hey, we're going to use this to replace a workforce and cut out 100% or like 100 people out of this to save money, you're dumb because it's not going to work.
No.
That's my thing. Moving on. Christopher McDonald reveals during a radio interview on Audacity 92.3, The Fan, he said that he had a run-in with Adam Sandler, claiming that Happy Gilmore 2 is officially in development with Sandler showing him a script. That a script does indeed exist.
If you guys don't know who Christopher McDonald is, it's Shooter McGavin.
Yeah. So it's interesting because
it's a shame what happened with Rob Schneider.
What?
Yeah, Rob did all those things. It's unfair.
Okay.
It's an inside joke.
Yeah, I know. I was just like, what?
One of my buddies kept confusing Rob and Dan.
Yeah, after talking about the documentary.
Yeah, I was like, Rob and Dan Schneider. I'm like, what are you talking about?
It was so funny because one of my buddies was like, "Oh, bro, I didn't hear. Did you hear about what happened with Rob Schneider?" And I was like,
"They're making
what?
the Animal 2 or what?"
I was like, "What happened?" And he's making like Animal 2 or what's he doing? And he's like, "Oh yeah, did you hear what he did on Nickelodeon?" And I was like, "What did he do on Nickelodeon?" He's like, "Yeah, he like abused a bunch of people." And I was like, "You're talking about Dan Schneider?" And he goes, "No, I'm talking about Rob." I go, "No, I think you're talking about Dan Schneider."
He's a Schneider.
He's a Schneider. They're related. Some way, somehow.
But yeah, happy. I feel like we're in the decade of movies where Hollywood doesn't know what to do, so they're just making sequels.
Or subtle reboots or pseudo sequels
or superhero movies.
Not bothered by it if it's done well enough, and I think Happy Gilmore can get a sequel if it's had enough time.
Well, that's the
thing is that for me is it's Adam Sandler in general. I feel like his humor has changed. And he's no longer, because when he was young, he would do that physicality and stuff, and being loud and stuff. But now it's more subtle writing jokes and stuff like that, which is smart. It's smart humor that he does now. But I feel like if he did a Happy Gilmore 2, it wouldn't feel the same.
Maybe it's his like swan song. No. Like his last like golden era of like, let's just do this.
Because the other day I did rewatch Click.
Yeah.
That movie's amazing.
It's still a good
movie. That movie
does it hold up?
It really does.
It still holds up. Yeah.
I
watched it recently.
Yeah, the scene where he passes away is really hard. Anyway, I think that if we do get a Happy Gilmore 2, I just don't know where the story goes. Yeah. Unless Happy's teaching someone, because that's kind of like the new thing to do now.
Pass the torch along.
Because that's kind of like the new thing to do in Hollywood too. Of like, we're gonna give you a protege and make you like, we're gonna make you Stubbs, and then we're gonna give you a new Happy Gilmore, and then you have to teach them the way that Stubbs taught you. And because they're doing that with like Cobra Kai, they're doing that with, with a bunch of other stuff. And
they're doing it in Ghostbusters.
They're doing it in Ghostbusters.
With Ghostbusters with Afterlife.
Yeah. So that's why I'm saying that it's very much that could be what they're planning on doing.
It's a way of like, okay, we're doing a sequel. We have the original people, but in case they don't want to come back, we can continue on with this new character that we introduced.
Or pass away.
Yeah,
same thing with Creed.
Well, yeah, exactly.
That's all Creed is.
Yeah. And I mean, to a point, it makes sense, right? Because these are franchises that they know they can make bank on if it's done even well enough.
Yeah.
Like, people will go watch this movie, right?
They kind of did that. I watched Roadhouse, and the way that Roadhouse ends, it basically ends of like Dalton being like, okay, I finished what I need to do here. I can move on. And then move on and go from there.
And then a big guy comes out with Patrick Swayze's AI face on him. And then he's just like, good job on protecting the bar.
Yeah. This Roadhouse is a reboot, right? It's a retelling of the old one?
It's not, because he's not even called the same first name as Dalton from the original Roadhouse. They share the same last name, but in this one, like I said, this version of Dalton, played by Jake Gyllenhaal, is more strategic thinking when it comes to fighting.
Well, because he's an MMA fighter, right?
Yeah, he's an MMA fighter. While Patrick Swayze's Dalton was more zen, more centered, more of like... But they both have a dark past. And there's a reason why they both choose not to fight the way they used to, you know? The way they did it in this movie was really good. I like Jake Gyllenhaal overall. Was it Conor McGregor?
Is he in this movie?
He's in the movie. He hams it up a lot. That's the thing. It is his first film that he's part of. He does ham up the villain very much, but it works in here. That's the thing. And
is it worth a movie? Is it worth watching?
I'm gonna watch it again this weekend, and I liked it overall. I did also like the villain. He's more of like the today rich guy, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, overall it was good. I think one gripe I have with it, I was telling you guys earlier, there's some, when you watch the fight scenes, when they are doing like these weird camera angles, they try to do like this continuously shot, but then at the same time there's like this fish eye view, and it really throws you off. Yeah, no, it's really weird. It throws me off and stuff like that. So
that sounds terrible.
But the final fight scene was actually pretty cool. It was fine. It was dope. Yeah.
Gotcha. So the last bit of news for Happy Gilmore 2 is that it's going to be rumored to be developed by Netflix, and I think that that's where the safetiness is in this. Is that no matter what, if it doesn't do well, it's still going to be streamed.
Yeah.
If we use Zack Snyder math, it'll work. You know,
Zack Snyder math.
I'll do better than the theaters.
You know, just because people stream it more, and you got to count that stream as two different people watching it. Stupid. Speaking of
Zack Snyder's on drugs.
Speaking about,
he was on the Joe Rogan podcast.
So he's definitely on drugs.
What does he give everyone? DMT?
Weed? Yeah,
yeah. Oh no, they either like smoke weed or take a shot of something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking about sequels. Jack Black states that he is ready for a School of Rock sequel, which was said during a press tour interview for Kung Fu Panda 4. He states that he kind of wants Mike White to come back and do the screenwriting for the second one since he was the first one, but he's currently busy writing White Lotus. So I think
that's right.
Yeah, which is funny.
I gotta watch that. Yeah,
White Lotus I've heard is really, really good.
It's very clever. I hear it's very clever when it comes to its writing and then its jokes.
My only thing is that I feel School of Rock works. It's a great movie. I love that.
It still holds up too.
Holds up.
It does.
The kids are great. Everything holds up.
I have a hangover. Who knows what that means? It means you're drunk. No, it means I was drunk yesterday. It means you're an alcoholic, dude. You got a disease.
But that's so great. But my thing is that it works so well because of the kid cast. They work really well. Not only that, but also bouncing off of a young Jack Black. Don't get me wrong. Jack Black is still Jack Black.
Yeah.
But that is a younger Jack Black. He was way more physical in that movie.
Yeah, he did more kicks and jumps and stuff like that.
Yeah. And everything else. So my thing is that how exactly do you capture lightning in a bottle like that again? Because
do what we talked about with Happy Gilmore 2 and every other movie that is currently out right now.
But the thing is that Happy Gilmore, if Happy Gilmore doesn't end the same way School of Rock does.
Yeah, that's true.
School of Rock shows that he opens a School of Rock.
School of Rock, yeah.
So how do you then go, cool, so all the hijinks of you trying to hide it and everything else is over. Like that hijinks is gone, which is part of the fun.
It's Jack Black is now the principal of the School of Rock. And there's a student who says, I don't want to rock. I want to dance.
That's dumb.
And then we get Footloose in there. That's what happens.
Don't screenwrite. Just direct. Just direct. What, Footloose and School of Rock?
Yeah, no. Kevin Bacon coming in.
Don't write yet. I write the skits here, dude.
Not all of them.
Not all of them.
We kind of do a little rewrite.
Yeah, exactly. Let's not.
I'm not giving myself the credit completely. It's just like, don't write screenplays. What the heck, dude?
just
No.
It was a bad idea.
Because it was a joke. God dang it, Nick. God dang it, dude.
Keep going.
I forgot my train of thought.
I know. School of Rock 2.
School of Rock 2.
School of Rock 2. But I don't know. It's interesting. We'll see what happens with that one if it even ends up happening.
Maybe if Paramount starts losing properties, they'll do it. Like I see it more on like a Paramount Plus kind of thing.
I kind of get the feeling that the reason why,
like Good Burger 2.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I kind of see Jack Black doing this mainly because he likes to say a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And I feel like he was probably caught in the moment of just like maybe in the interview he was probably told about School of Rock.
He's willing to do a lot of sequels of his movies. He's willing to do Nacho Libre 2 as well too.
He can't pull off Nacho Libre 2.
I think he also wants to do Tropic Thunder 2. He was talking about how I want to do a Tropic Thunder 2.
I think he's talked to Ben about it. He's like, "We gotta do another one," But
Yeah,
they can't do that again. Like,
can't do that
at least with Robert Downey Jr. doing blackface, like that was like you can't do that now.
Just have Robert Downey Jr. come back, but not in blackface.
You know what's funny? I would watch
like a koala or something.
I would watch people's reactions to Tropic Thunder, and 9 times out of 10, if it was a person of color watching it. One guy was watching it, and he's looking at Robert Downey Jr. He's all, "Why do I keep thinking this guy's actually black?" It blows my mind. Like I'm thinking Robert Downey Jr. is really black, but I know he's not. But the way he's talking is perfect. It's like
it was great.
It's still on Hulu, isn't it?
It is.
Yes.
Yeah. There's a couple movies on Hulu that I know are leaving soon that I'm like, I gotta watch them.
Yeah.
Tropic Thunder is definitely one of those movies where it's like, yeah, this movie could be made today.
No, but you're happy they did it.
But it needs to exist. It also needs to exist.
Also, I love the idea of Jack Black is right at the height of Kung Fu Panda. Robert Downey Jr. is just at the height of Iron Man. He just finished Iron Man. And Rob Schneider and Ben Stiller is kind of at the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, and I love also you have completely covered prosthetic Tom Cruise in that movie. He plays the boss, remember? The bald dude.
He plays the bald dude. Yeah.
He had too much fun playing that character.
That's
and
right.
then Bill Hader was his little lackey as well too.
Bill Hader was in that movie
too.
You know what's funny? He's when they asked him what voice was that?
Yeah.
He goes, "It was Lorne Michaels." He goes, "It's my Lorne Michaels impersonation." That's what I was doing.
Was Lorne Michaels involved in the production of that movie?
No, but they when they asked him like where did that voice come from, and he goes, "It's my Lorne." It's just when I hear Lauren's voice, that's what I hear.
I think what's always funny about when they try to parody Lorne Michaels is that he doesn't have a lot of talking roles. He is always behind the camera.
Yeah.
But people always try to impersonate him to a point, and it's kind of like, who was it in The Grinch? What's his name?
Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Like he impersonated Ron Howard in the movie.
Oh yeah.
But like Ron Howard never really made appearances on screen, so you never caught on to it until it was recently revealed that was his impersonation of Ron Howard. So yeah, I don't know. It's always interesting to me to hear that. 2 more pieces of news. Oh no, 3 actually. Per Kotaku, GTA 6 updates have been making their way to the surface. A couple pieces that have been revealed is that they plan on releasing this game in early 2025, but have kind of stated through rumors that production is falling behind. So if it does, they're looking at a release window of fall 2025, if anything pushing it into 2026. And all of this information is coming out after they've kind of made talks. I don't know if it's official yet, but Rockstar is planning on bringing its developers back in office to prevent any sorts of leaks from happening and further delays.
That makes sense.
Yeah. There's also some pieces of news that have kind of come out about GTA 6, which is a lot of tech people, or they say tech people, have said that GTA 6 won't run on console.
I've heard about that.
Yeah. Or that it won't run smoothly at 60 frames per second.
Yeah.
Which I don't see how that could be okay, because that's where you're going to get most of your sales from.
Yeah.
Is through console. You're just phasing out your PlayStation 4s and your Xbox One X's. You're phasing them out.
I know, but that just means that it's meant for a newer console.
It's exactly.
Yeah.
But
it's that's what they're pitching. They're saying that this is 2 years out, which is a newer console.
So if they're pushing it all the way into 2026, that's when I probably see maybe the PlayStation 5 Pro being announced, but it's going to be
or the Slim.
It has to be a Pro because you want more hardware fit into that can run games a lot better. So it has to be that Pro version of it. But the problem I see here is the game then won't come out next year. It's going to come out 2 years from now.
Yeah, it's not going to come out next year.
I'm calling it right now. What's going to probably happen, because it's always every 2 years. that you get a pro version. It's like clockwork.
We're way due for a pro version.
It's like clockwork. Yeah. We're going to get a pro version, if not by the end of this year, by the beginning of next year. We'll get a pro version.
So Switch is supposedly making a release or an announcement in the summer.
Sean, what'd you say? Oh, I thought you were waving.
Oh. No, he's pondering. He's thinking.
Xbox is already talking about coming out with a new console.
The next rumor, but
it's confirmed.
It's confirmed?
Yeah, it's right here. Xbox President Sarah Bond teases that Microsoft will deliver the largest technological leap with the next-gen Xbox.
And did they say what's the window?
No, it's just it's
probably within the next year.
So
who knows?
They won't announce it this year. They'll announce it
maybe not
next summer,
probably for the holiday season.
I wouldn't even
2025 maybe.
I'd say summer.
For a release window next year. No, they'll announce it in the summer to release, like Sean said, winter 2025. That's where your money's at.
Yeah,
you want to get those holiday sales.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Because I don't think, has there ever been a console to release in the springtime? Yes. I know Nintendo does it, but not...
Which one? The Wii, the Switch?
Yeah, but that's Nintendo. They don't count.
But also the same thing with Xbox. The first Xbox came out, like in April?
But didn't they switch back to winter? To compete with Sony?
I don't remember. Check the
window, the release dates for Xbox.
He's got it. He has his phone.
Oh, okay.
He's doing
Sean, check one of them, and then can you check the release date for PlayStation 4?
You do Xbox, you do PlayStation.
Yeah. Because I feel like that's where most of that money is going to come from in the industry.
No, because the reason is that you don't want to release it only for holiday. You want to release it 2 months out prior.
Oh, yeah.
And then leading into the holiday season. So you would probably do it April, September, around then.
What? You mean September or April?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you'd either do April or September and then lead into the holiday season. Because that way... Because those first 3 or 4 months is going to be probably where all your defects are. And then for the holiday season, that's when you pump out the rest of the consoles.
PS2, PS3, PS4, and PS5 have all been like October, November.
So it's the holiday season. Because that's the holiday season for most markets. Here in the U.S., it's going to be that October season.
Yeah.
That was for PlayStation. I think you were supposed to look up Xbox. Because Rene was looking at PlayStation right now. But yeah, so you're going to have that release window. And I do feel like what'll end up happening is, I do agree with you in the sense that GTA 6's development is going to push the consoles to basically say, or the companies to say, like, we need to release a pro version.
November. They've all been in November, except one time for August for the Xbox One S.
Because the Switch came out in April.
The ones.
PS1,
2016.
yeah, PS1 was released in July of 2000, and then PlayStation was released in November.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
so it was the PS1 that was in July.
Yeah, and then from after PS2, because I guess they tracked that PS2 had a better release buying rate around November. So that after that, it was November because PlayStation 3 came out in November, and then PS4 came out roughly February. Yeah, okay, yeah, and then the Slim, same thing, September.
And then the 5.
The 5 came out November.
Yeah.
So it's like a September, November. It's
that fall time.
Fourth quarter.
Yeah. So I think that GTA 6 will make an announcement next summer, releasing spring of 2026.
I wouldn't be surprised if they made it a launch title
for a pro console. Yeah. Well,
if they were to go, this is coming out the same day, GTA 5 coming out.
GTA 6.
Or GTA 6. Coming out, not bundled, but it's coming out with the console.
I can see that happening, but I don't think it will release alongside the Pro console. It'll release a couple months. They'll use the Pro console to showcase it.
Yeah.
And that's probably what they'll do.
Oh, the best sold games for the PlayStation was Gran Turismo. PS2 was Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. And then PS3 was Grand Theft Auto 5. And then for PS4 was Uncharted 4.
PlayStation 5 Pro.
Nothing for that one yet.
It'll be GTA 6. People buy it. They'll buy it for that one. All right, 2 more pieces of news. So, May 4th is fastly approaching. All 9 Skywalker Saga movies will re-release in theaters on May 4th. So they're going to be marathoning them.
I will not watch those because I will be here on Free Comic Book Day.
Oh.
Which will be here at Undercity Comics.
May 4th.
I will be in the movie theater getting arrested.
What?
Well, yeah, dude. You can't, pleasure yourself in the movie.
Oh, my gosh, dude.
And not get arrested. You can't just...
You'll
you'll
be registered on a certain website as well, too.
So I was looking into seeing how these movies. I thought they were gonna do like, you can watch like one movie this time and a movie.
No, they're not doing it like Spider-Man.
No, they're just like freaking. Here's all of them.
That you know what? That would be a
got one day.
That would be.
You got one day to watch these.
Oh, God. I think that would be an interesting experience because I've been to those marathons.
I don't know. I forgot his name.
What's his name?
For which one?
From Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
Oh,
the boy.
It's not
Guido.
Yeah, it's not Guido.
No.
Guido is that's the one that gets shot.
The boy or his mother. So racist, by the way.
Why can't I remember his name right now? Sebulba is the dude that he races against.
Just look it up.
And then
you want to watch the Skywalker movies? All of them.
It's all of them.
You get that one, not two.
You won't see it May 3rd or May 5th. May 4th.
Well, you think you're a Jedi?
You got to pay the price for the popcorn and then the soda.
You can't walk away after 7. You gotta watch all of them.
Look up his name. I can't remember his name right now. Oh my God.
Dude, that's what I was thinking about is that it's all 9 Skywalker movies, right?
Right.
I would love to watch Return of the Jedi or Empire Strikes Back in theaters.
Just put who owned Luke Skywalker. Who owned Anakin Skywalker?
We're talking about a child here, dude.
And he was a slave, so that's how that works.
Who owned Anakin first?
Watto!
That's right. Watto.
We were close enough, dude. We were close enough. I would love to see Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
Empire and Return in theaters.
Yeah.
But I don't think I can sit through
1, 2, and 3.
No, I can sit through all of them. I can't sit through the sequel
The new
trilogy.
ones?
Yeah.
Honestly,
maybe Force Awakens, but that's it.
I probably would have
Watch
watched
my movie.
You know what? I'd probably watch the first 6 and then walk out right when the last.
Watto won't let you, dude. You pay for all these movies.
The famous line. Now this is pod racing.
You know what's really funny? I actually have a pod racing helmet at home.
Oh, you do? Yeah.
I do have a pod racing
What
helmet.
a nerd,
I have.
dude.
Look it up. It's the Anakin pod racing helmet from Phantom Menace.
Did you
I
put
have
it
at
on?
home.
Sit yourself in a chair?
It does not fit me.
No.
It does not fit me
This is
anymore.
pod racing. Is that
When
what
I was a kid, yes.
Did you ever play that game at the Chuck E. Cheese where they had
Yeah,
that?
it has pod racing.
Yeah, you were in this big cockpit and you're
Yeah,
just like,
I
yeah.
had the N64 pod racing game.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
that
I
was
did
pretty
too.
dope.
So I would put the helmet on and I'd play. And then it even has the goggles you put over your face and you're just like,
It's working.
It's working.
just put Anakin pod racing helmet. Totally.
Oh my god. So if you guys are in the California area, there are only 3 theaters that will be marathoning this. Good luck getting tickets because I doubt
have
they'll
that.
be able to buy them at this
I
point.
have 2.
Okay.
So the theaters that will be hosting this marathon, again, if you can get the tickets, El Capitan in Hollywood,
over
Regal
$250.
Irvine, Spectrum in Irvine, Alamo Draft House, New Mission in San Francisco. Films will be shown in chronological order and will feature a preview of the show Acolyte, which will be streaming on Disney Plus beginning June 6th.
That's what I have at home.
That's dope.
Oh, look at the goggles. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's sick.
Could you imagine Nick picking you up in the car wearing that?
Could you imagine me coming out naked in only that?
No, I don't want to.
That's gonna be my honeymoon. I hope Monica knows that. I'm gonna put it on and just come out and just be like, oh, now
baby.
this is pod racing.
You want to see what real pod racing's like? Nick's just gonna lay
Oh
down,
my god.
hands
And
in the air
Veronica goes
this.
like, if you win the race.
If you win the race, you can finish.
You can finish.
All right, last piece of comic
And that's my
strip
honeymoon,
news.
guys. That's my.
Sony will be celebrating its 100th anniversary of Columbia Pictures with the re-release of all 9 Spider-Man movies.
Yes.
If you guys are interested in watching them, they are going to be Spider-Man 1, April 15th, Spider-Man 2, April 22nd,
Yep.
Spider-Man 3, April 29th, The Amazing Spider-Man, May 6th, Amazing Spider-Man 2, May 13th, Homecoming, May 20th, Far From Home, May 27th, and No Way Home, June 3rd.
So out of all the movies I would want to see on screen, I would want to see the first Spider-Man movie and the first Amazing Spider-Man movie and then maybe No Way Home.
No, I would want to rewatch Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2? I've seen that enough That I saw that in theaters.
Yeah.
But I would love to for the nostalgia of seeing Spider-Man 1 again in theaters because I was a little kid when I saw that.
I wonder if they're gonna update it for like Atmos and everything else.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Because I think the Raimi ones would be really cool in Atmos.
Oh, definitely.
Because there's a lot of stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely want to try to get tickets for the first one, the second one, and then Amazing Spider-Man.
And then the third one. And then the other first one.
I want to see Spider-Man 1.
Spider-Man 2?
And then Spider-Man 2. And then Spider-Man 1. And then Spider-Man 2 again. And then Marvel Spider-Man 1. And then Marvel Spider-Man 3. And then
Far From Home was pretty good.
No, Far From Home was good.
He's just going to go down the line. It's like, Brian, those are all of them. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to watch all of them.
I actually quit my job.
I'm going to watch 1, 2, 3, then 1 and 2, and then 1, 2, and 3.
It's not a lot.
In that order.
It's not a lot.
In that order. And then, if I'm lucky, if it's still there, Madam Web.
Never again, dude.
Yeah.
Never again. Oh God,
Venom?
dude.
You gonna watch Venom again?
Venom, I'll watch.
Venom.
Was,
Which one?
You know what? The second one was fun. One and two.
One is fun.
Two is fun.
Two is. I actually think two is better than one because I feel like because I fell asleep in the first Venom.
The first one just had
It
Venom.
was slow. It was slow.
The second one was Carnage, and that was fun.
Yeah.
That was great. That is the end of comic strips. Actually, one little side piece that I forgot to mention for the Skywalker
What'd you call
thing.
me? What'd you call me?
I didn't call you a side piece. That's what he said.
Yeah. So you got a side piece.
I like how he was just like, "What'd you call me? What'd you call me?" Oh, is you? Oh, all right. Yeah, all right, fine. That True Moo, I think, is the milk brand. Will be releasing blue milk.
Yes. I'm already on the hunt. Be like, where you at? Because I like True Moo.
I can't make fun of him for that because for the last couple of weeks I was hunting down Jones's Nuka Victory soda, and he bought me a 4-pack already.
Did she?
Yeah, she did. Because Jones Soda was selling them online for $25, and it came with like a little cardboard little carrier that was like Fallout theme with Vault 33.
That was the only thing I didn't like was that True Moo didn't do anything fantastical with the casing.
No, it's just blue milk.
It's literally a carton and it just slapped the thing, just slapped a Star Wars logo on it, and they went, blue milk, have fun.
It's just blue.
So here's my thing.
It doesn't even look cool.
Disney's blue milk is rice milk. So
Yes.
what is this? Is this cow milk dyed with blue dye?
Yeah, they.
Yeah, if
Blue
it
dye
was
40?
if it was just cow milk with blue dye,
That
that would be hilarious. It would be super funny.
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy one and then
will-
be like, and then just color match them and just kind of. All right, I'm
I'll
good.
make you blue milk at home, dude. I'll just go get you a gallon of regular milk. Do you drink 2% or whole milk?
I drink 2.
Depends.
Do you have different milk for different occasions?
Yeah, of course. One's for cookies and one's for drinking.
Oh.
Okay, to drink.
2,
Okay. You use whole milk for cookies, huh?
of course.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Tastes better.
Yeah. I can't drink.
I need
whole
all the fat soaking into my cookie, and then and then
Someone clipped
I
that
bust. and then afterwards, busty make me feel good.
Speaking of milk.
Speaking of milk,
Ghostbusters Frozen Empire movie came out today.
it was good.
Yes.
All right, that wraps up the podcast, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us here.
Our
Issue
10-minute of a podcast.
No, okay, so we went to go check it out because we really loved Afterlife.
Yes.
Afterlife came out.
I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, it was fun.
4 years ago.
Was that long?
I think it was like 3 or 4 years ago.
I got the popcorn.
Podcasts look like a grown man now. Like
I didn't even recognize him.
Yeah, really?
That was. Hold on. In Afterlife, he was a boy.
He was a boy.
In Frozen Kingdom, in Frozen
Man.
Empire, that was a man.
He was like half boy, half man.
That dude had hair in places. I saw him and I went, "That's not the same kid." And then I looked at him and I go, "Oh my god, it is the same kid."
So for visual people, the ones that are watching on YouTube, here's the popcorn bucket that was being sold at AMC theaters for $39.99.
Yeah,
$40.
Yeah.
So Rene asked me, he's like, "Oh, does the top come off?" And when I was in theaters, I was like, "No, because I didn't pop off."
We did try to kind of nudge it.
Then we took it to the shop, and Rene was just like, "Hey,"
It comes off.
he's like, "Hey." So the top did come off.
Yeah.
And in my head, I'm just like, this dude just
broke
my
it.
popcorn
Yeah.
bucket. He's like, "No, it comes off." And I'm like, "Did you Google it?" He's like, "Nope. Just lifted it up."
I
That's it.
just pulled it off.
I pulled a Nick.
I mean, it's a cool bowl too.
It is a cool bowl.
I want you to eat cereal out of it.
You know what?
blue milk. Yeah.
Get blue milk and pour it in.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. I don't like using my popcorn buckets at all because once you put popcorn in there, it's
but you can use that as a bowl.
You can use this as a bowl. So here's the thing. We were in the theater walking in, and this guy is literally like in the chair, open-legged, popcorn bucket laying right in the middle between him and his crotch, dude. And he had the whole popcorn, like, actual, like, bucket in there.
Was he by himself, or did he have, like, a girlfriend?
He had his girlfriend, I think it was, yeah. But I'm just like, why would you
probably
use
cut a
it,
hole
dude?
in the middle.
With the popcorn bucket? Oh, it also lights up, too. Let me see if we can see it here. Woo! Look at that. It's like a ghostly entity. But, speaking about Frozen Empire, did you guys go in there, or did you go in there with expectations to actually enjoy the movie?
Not high expectations. I went in with like, I just want to be entertained. Just entertain me. And that's what I do with any movie. I went in with The Dune like that. I went in with Madame Web like that. But overall, I think for me, the movie opened pretty well. It was very fun.
Yeah.
And I thoroughly enjoyed it. And then the humor was great. You know what's funny is that there was you, me, and Nick, and then like some guy next to Nick that were laughing louder when the jokes were landing.
Oh, I mean, that's the thing is that there were pockets of people there. Because, like, Ghostbusters is so universally loved that you have your hardcore, like, Ghostbuster fans that, like, will understand everything from the movie.
Yeah.
Then you have your, like, fans that grew up with it because their parents showed them the movie when they were born in the 90s. And then you have your casual moviegoers that weren't really laughing at any of the jokes. But, like, you and I were just kind of like, oh,
they were like, oh, that's clever.
You know? Oh, it's the brass, dude. That's what catches the ghost. And we caught those certain like things. And so I did hear a couple like pockets of people laughing at jokes that, you know, Andy wasn't laughing at. That she was just like, oh, that's a reference to like an old movie, which, it makes sense. What did you think? You said the beginning was the most interesting part for you.
Yeah, it was the way they opened it with they're just like, we're here in New York City. I liked that, you know, we didn't have to have any sort of explanation of why, because we kind of got that at the end of the first one with you know, the Echo one going into New York City and stuff. Like, okay, cool, you know, and we picked it up from there. That was it.
Exactly. They were already seasoned ghost hunters at that point, right?
Yeah.
Now, what did you think of the second act?
Second act, that's towards maybe like when they find the sphere, right?
I think it's when the sphere
and
gets
when they
introduced,
introduce like the facility.
Yeah. So spoiler alerts. If you haven't seen it, pause it, come back, go watch it if you're interested, because we're going to be spoiling it. That's the second act, I think, in my opinion. For me, because that's where a lot of the reviews started to kind of like go down.
It wasn't too bad to me. I mean, there was a lot of exposition, but it was at least interesting dialogue. You know, I think I really enjoyed Dan Aykroyd being more involved, you know, with kind of like doing the investigation part.
He got to be more Dan Aykroyd,
which was good. I liked it. And we get to see a little snippet of Bill Murray just being Venkman, you know, which was great.
Yeah, exactly.
Another one was I think we were following, what was her name again?
The young girl?
Yeah.
Phoebe.
I don't know why I want to say Penelope. Phoebe.
She looks like she could be a Penelope.
Yeah. Phoebe had a cool, interesting storyline with another ghost, which is interesting. Like,
I felt like it was mildly underdeveloped, but a
lot of it was underdeveloped.
And I honestly enjoyed the movie, but I do feel that it was cut and there were certain things that they took out.
Yeah.
For the length.
Yeah.
So, going back,
pacing.
So because I asked Rene this question, now that you're back. So the first act of the movie was sold, and that's what a lot of the reviews are saying now, is that the first act was the best part of the movie, and then from there it just doesn't sell as hard, and I think that's where a lot of the reviews are giving it its negative thoughts. IGN has a 4. Discussing Films gave it 2.5 stars. I think Rotten Tomatoes right now is sitting at a 40%, maybe.
Listen,
really?
I don't. Here's my thing. At no point should this movie receive the same score Madame Web got.
That's not possible because Madame Web was like in the low 10s.
No, but it got like a 3 or a 4 on IGN. It also got like a 2.
43. 86 by audiences. That's good. Yeah.
Okay, so this is what I'm talking about, though.
What was Afterlife? 64 94. Yeah.
But this is what I'm talking about, though, is that for one, it's already been discussed. IGN, Rotten Tomatoes, a lot of these are paid by the studios.
Critic scores, not
the critic score. Yeah, the critic scores. A lot of them are paid for.
Yeah.
And so it's really weird.
I'm just
the
seeing
fact that
it's
it's 57% for audience is disgusting.
I actually really want to read the the comments on those and just see.
No, I'm actually frustrated. I had a friend that actually believed that movie was good. Stop talking to him.
Was it? That surprises me.
How does that surprise you?
Just surprises me.
He's like, he tried to defend it. I'm like, I can't, dude. I can't have you defend that.
But so my thing is that
nope, I already saw a tomato on there. How dare you put that away? Put that away.
The dialogue needed wit and spark. It was kind of, will this do one-liners? Hope the spiders were worth it, Mom. And tired of backstories you get when the characters are too flat, flash out. But why give it a tomato review?
I'm very confused.
That's really...
Yeah, I feel like people were giving it...
Catherine Bray of the Empire magazine.
She's
Empire?
Yeah.
Empire gave it a tomato?
Yeah.
Top critic. And this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah. That's a 2 out of 4.
She gave it a tomato.
Yeah.
Dude, did they feel bad? They just gave it a C? Just to pass the class?
So Catherine gave it a 4 out of 5.
Who?
That one from the Empire magazine.
Like Madam the Web. Empire magazine?
Yeah.
The Empire.
So if
that's disgusting.
So to prove my point, the critics one is pretty janky. Go to your audience score. If the audience score is also saying, "Hey, it's pretty bad," movie's probably pretty bad.
That's the thing about audience scores, though, is that you can get more, I feel like, an accurate feel for what the movie's going to be like based off audience scores. But this is the type of movie where even if it's sitting at an 86%, I can't recommend this to a casual moviegoer. I feel like if people enjoyed the first Ghostbusters and Afterlife, this is a movie that they'll probably enjoy. But I find myself sitting at a 6 out of 10 for this one.
It feels very Ghostbuster-y.
It's very Ghostbusters, but there's not enough ghost busting in this one.
It feels better than the little...
There wasn't.
What do you mean?
There was the big chase at the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then there were, like, the proton packs weren't really used as much. And
well, no, because it was more of off-screen ghost busting.
Exactly.
They were more focusing on, what Phoebe was doing, or
not only that, but also I gotta save that budget. You see what they did? They froze New York.
Yeah.
That was expensive.
Yeah. That's where most of that budget went. But
and then we had Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Ernie Hudson in it as well too.
Yeah,
like these are expensive people.
So like because again, I'm not gonna argue with you and basically say that you guys are wrong in saying that this movie was enjoyable, because I did enjoy it. But compared to Afterlife, I feel like Afterlife had that excitement of people learning about the tools and seeing them used again was very like rejuvenating. It was like, oh, this is so enjoyable to see.
But I can't.
With Frozen Empire, there was a lot of explanation in the second part, and it was a lot more science. Because like when you were in the restroom, Rene and I were mentioning how there were a lot of moments where certain parts of the audience were like laughing a lot more because they were referencing jokes from before, or it was very Ghostbusters informative that they got what was being told.
Yes.
And so that's where I feel like it started to fall off for me, where if certain people couldn't get it, it wasn't going to be as enjoyable as something like Afterlife.
But my thing is that I understand where they were coming from, though, is that why am I going to sit here and try and explain a proton pack again when I did it in one?
Exactly. No, and
I've already at this point now, I'm doing it to catch the audience up.
You're going more. You're doing more now. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's one of those things of we've already done that. We've already reiterated it. Not only that, but also for me to then say, this person needs for me to re-explain it to them makes the character sound silly.
Yes.
It makes them sound like kind of dumb.
Yeah.
If I have to re-explain to you how a proton pack works or how this works.
And I think what I enjoyed a lot about the facility section of it, right, was that yes, the Ghostbusters are growing. Now you have this big facility at an abandoned aquarium, and they're essentially using new tools to understand the ghosts and trap the ghosts. And what I enjoyed so much about it was they're using the technology of the proton packs to build cages for the ghosts to be able to study them, so they can improve on how to capture them or even put them away a lot better. That was enjoyable for me. But to a casual moviegoer, I don't think it'll work.
But that's the thing, though, is that as a casual moviegoer, I should have went to go see the first one,
Afterlife,
and I should have gotten my explanation in Afterlife.
Did we at any point when we reviewed Afterlife mention that Afterlife was not a movie for just the normal person who's never seen Ghostbusters?
No.
Or did we recommend it to people if they've never seen Ghostbusters? And
I always recommend Afterlife. I love Afterlife.
Even if they never watched the first one?
It's fun, and it does a good job of explaining who the Ghostbusters are. It gets you interested in maybe going back and rewatching 1 and 2. I mean, this one even mentioned the fact that the Statue of Liberty, the Statue of Liberty.
They did the whole cartoons of the toys too that were actually used.
Yeah, and so I thought that was really interesting. But that's what I mean, though. It's very silly for me to go, it wasn't explained when I'm going to go see a sequel. And in the first one, they explained everything. So the heavy lifting has already been done. So why am I going to reiterate this in the sequel when in the first one, I already did this? And the audience is going to go see this movie, saw the first one. Because if I then do it again in this one, they're going to go, man, they just keep on like explaining a proton pack. Like, I don't understand why they're explaining it again. We already know what it does. So that's why I'm kind of like, I don't get your point.
Well, my point isn't that I'm disagreeing with it. It's necessary to do that. You don't want to mention things from Afterlife in this one because then you're just repeating it for people that have already seen Afterlife. My point is that there's a lot of information in the middle part of it. It makes the story stale. The parts that worked in the middle, in the second act, are the explanations of the technology and what they're doing to bust the ghosts. That works. What suffered in the second act were the stories and the development of the characters in this movie. Phoebe was the strongest character in this movie.
I'll give you that.
She ended up doing more. But nothing in the middle helped her build her character up from the first one. She had a lot of potential at the end of Afterlife. In this one, her theme was, you're young, make mistakes. And she made 2 massive mistakes that at the end of the movie, it's okay, kid, don't worry about it. You're going to be fine. It's like, no, what consequence should have you suffered for what you did?
She ended the world. That was a pretty big consequence.
Exactly. Bingo. She let all the ghosts out again, but yet she's back into ghostbusting, which I feel like, okay, sure, but it doesn't develop her character.
No, because you can also say if she was never taken off the team in the first place, then she wouldn't have made the mistakes that she already did.
Exactly.
So there was mistakes all around the board that everybody needed to kind of grow on. And that's the other thing too, because in the second act, you need all that science to then explain how the main big bad gets out of the prison.
Yes.
So, because without that section of science and them explaining, when they get to the actual him escaping, that does not make sense.
No, and that's why the science works. But what I'm talking about is a character development of people like Phoebe, where she ended really strong in Afterlife, and in here there's actually no growth. They actually tear her down again to kind of put her in the same spot. It doesn't work.
But they don't necessarily put her in the same spot per se, because because in the movie she thinks that she is kind of infallible. She thinks that I can just kind of do whatever it is I want
with a name. Yeah.
I'm a Spangler. I can do whatever it is I want. And not only that, but also she doesn't necessarily understand what family is. She's understanding that family is a name. It's not necessarily blood. That's the whole Paul Rudd portion of that movie, where he's really struggling on how exactly do I become your dad? How do I parent you? As somebody who I love you, I want to do that, and they're trying to go with the whole thing of this is the Ghostbusters family. You know, when you become a Ghostbuster, it's not just a job. We become a family, and that is very much talked about. The characters are as developed as I would like, because I mean the brother way more development inside the first one. Paul Rudd's character way more development in the first one.
They had their time to shine in Afterlife,
and that's also the problem too. So in this one, they didn't necessarily do anything else except for getting Phoebe out of this mistake.
Exactly. And Finn Wolfhard's character, I forget his name, his big thing was trying to get Slimer out of the attic. That
was his big thing, which technically you didn't need to do because he ends up saving the day at the end.
Yeah.
Because his big thing was, oh yeah, I'm trying to beat Slimer and Slimer keeps defeating me, and then at the end we become friends. And
that would have been better as like a marketing aspect of because I feel like that wasn't really needed in the film, but it was funny.
It was a funny bit.
You know what? In all fairness, I think they should have went the cartoon aspect, where Slimer is kind of like the house dog.
I know. I don't know why.
Where he's like the station pet.
It's so funny how each movie coming out. Like, I'm hoping they do that, but they never really do that.
Because
have a ghost pet.
Well,
no, but have Slimer as their pet.
Because in the cartoon, Slimer lived in the firehouse.
Yeah.
The official cartoon or the fake
the official cartoon.
Okay.
The official cartoon, Slimer is
not the one with the gorilla, right?
Nope.
Okay.
No.
There's a Ghostbusters.
That one that was only in Mexico.
No, that one was aired here. It was when I forget who didn't have the rights to make an actual Ghostbusters cartoon, so they did something else with the name, but it wasn't Ghostbusters.
No, this one was an actual licensed Ghostbusters, and they had Slimer as as somebody else.
Now. Yeah, they should be, but I think it's also because was it ever established that Slimer was a single ghost that exists, or that it's multiple versions of Slimer?
No, it's just one.
That's the same one that Slime did. Bill Murray in the first one.
They did a different one in Afterlife, where this one
that was a blue one.
Yeah, it was a blue one, but he ate matter.
Yeah,
and stuff. It wasn't food. He just ate metal.
And the Slimer still's not caught.
No, he's been caught a couple of times, but he's also escaped.
Yeah, but he didn't get caught in Frozen Empire. He ran away.
Yeah.
No, because he lives in the firehouse now. That's his home.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, we see him at the end with the water dragon.
Yeah, he's getting chased around by the water
right,
dragon. Yeah.
I think the components of the story development for this movie are all there.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not having a problem with liking it. I actually really do like it. But again, it just goes back to a lot of it being like this. You have a really good first act, and then a very broken second act and third act, where if you kind of put the pieces together after watching the movie, it makes sense. It just wasn't linear enough for it to be, I think the word's cohesive. Like, it just didn't go straight into what it was supposed to do. The best example I can think of is the Ghost Girl. Right? The Ghost Girl essentially is being told at the end of the movie that in order for her to pass on to the new world, she needed to essentially do it herself by letting herself, just let go.
Yeah.
Let go of what's being held on, or holding you here. And the only reason that makes sense is through two major conversations that Phoebe has with her on separate occasions that are kind of glossed over. Like, this is why she's not being let go. The first major conversation is the first meeting when she's holding the match and lights it and then disappears. Like, why is she holding that physical matter there? And then the second conversation is she's doing it again, she scratches it, and then she's asked about what's this match. It's like, oh, it's the last match, oh, you really liking that thing? Well, the last one I lit killed my family.
Yeah.
Right over. Didn't even think about what was going on until Phoebe mentions it, that there's certain objects in this world that tie ghosts to this plane.
But they'd already kind of mentioned that, though.
Where?
When they went to not Spangler, when they went to Ray's store. Oh yeah. Because they were that's what they were smashing.
Uh-huh.
Because he was saying, "Oh yeah, I'm getting more items with ecto energy," and that was that entire thing where he then smashes it with Gallagher, where he then gets the watch and he smashes it,
but
and then
glossed over because it was quickly justified by a joke with it being
spirits tie themselves to us.
Yeah. So, but that's what I mean, though. You can't say that it wasn't explained.
I'm not saying it wasn't explained. I'm saying that it's in components, in places that don't really make any sense, so it's glossed over.
I don't know if I would say they don't make sense. They're explained.
You have a Lego set. Okay? This is what I'm trying to say, because I'm not saying what you're saying. You have a Lego set with all the pieces that make up this set. Okay? Build that Lego set without instructions. The only thing you have is the photo of the box. That's it. So you know that the pieces are going to make what's in the box. You just don't have the step-by-step instructions. That is what I'm saying that the film is doing. That's my problem with it. And justifiably, I think that that's what Frozen Empire is essentially doing. I can see where most people are having trouble reviewing this movie and giving it a higher score than it needs to, or that it should deserve, actually. It's just its components aren't in the places it should be. That's all it is.
I disagree.
Okay, that's fine to disagree. But again, don't put words that I didn't say. It's just it's broken up in different places. Yeah. That's all it is.
I think my only problem with it was I feel now that Hollywood has just realized that, okay, Paul Rudd's going to be in it. We'll just write him as Paul Rudd. That's
Someone in the theater said the comment that he's playing Ant-Man.
Yeah, I saw it now, and I wanted to say, no, he's just being Paul Rudd. That's what he is. He's Paul Rudd, which fine. It makes the movie fun, But I kind of want Paul Rudd to have some sort of different aspect, especially being a Ghostbusters movie, you know, because you would think like, okay, you know, like Bill Murray is just being Bill Murray, you know, and stuff. And I get it, he's a comedian and stuff like that, but I would want at least a different change in how his character would be.
Because I thought it was funny because I started laughing because immediately I was like, dang, Bill Murray really knows how to take a scene.
Yeah.
Like he really knows how to just like steal the hell of a scene, even though he's only in like maybe like 3 or 4 scenes.
But he has those great lines.
He has great lines. And also the action of just him walking in, and it's the same building that he had always been in, and just hitting the electrical panel. It falls off, and he has whiskey inside.
Yeah.
So did anyone else catch the theme with those characters that they want to relive that moment? Because the entire time that those characters came back on screen, there wasn't a single doubt that these guys were just showing up for a paycheck. There was like genuine wanting to be in the Ghostbusters costume again.
It was a bit of like enviness, where especially with Ray's character, you know, he sees the car go by, and he's just like,
and it's like he misses it.
Yeah,
that was a good little tag in there. Yeah,
and you can tell that also in the scene where Bill Murray's in the facility and stuff. He's asking the questions, but then realizing that it's having some sort of effect when he's investigating himself as well too.
Yeah,
and then having that breakthrough moment of like, whoa, okay. That's cool, you know.
I thought that was really funny because I felt like when he threw the pin at him, I thought it was just Bill Murray being Bill Murray.
No, but you could tell
he's
that
got his smarts in
there. It's the thing. Bill Murray. It's like there's a reason why he's noticing stuff. Which
That's kind of like a throwback to him interviewing Sigourney Weaver's character in the first one, where it's like he's flirting, but at the same time like understands that there's actual paranormal activity going on.
He's taking notes in his head and stuff.
Exactly.
Like that.
I also it puts because I also thought from the first one when he's just shocking the guy, even when he's getting because he's getting everything wrong.
Yeah,
and he's telling him that the girl is getting everything right.
Yeah,
and then
he's getting stuff right,
and then he starts getting them right, and then he goes like, "Sorry."
Yeah,
and he keeps on shocking him, and he's like, "I don't know what you want me to say."
Oh, that's right. That is in the first one.
Yeah, it's the first one. So it's Bill Murray or Venkman's character. Just that's how he is.
Yeah, and my thing is that I really did want, because that's the problem though, is that I get what you mean by Paul Rudd being Paul Rudd, but also that's how they wrote him in the first one because he was a Ghostbusters nerd.
Yeah, but he's in this kind of new dynamic where he's a Ghostbusters, but he's also being a pseudo stepfather.
Yes.
And then you would think he would try to step teacher. Yeah. But I don't know. I was kind of expecting more of like, I guess like authority. I don't know, like kind of establishing that.
He kind of got that development where like you wanted him to have the authority, but he was just like, well, I don't know if I can.
Yeah,
and then the wife was
we're
like,
dating, but we're not married, and these are not my kids. I can understand that.
I 100% understood where he was coming from.
He's
like,
no, that's fine.
He's like, that's a line. Like, how would you feel if these aren't my kids and I scold your kids?
Permission granted. Well, you know what?
Yeah, like
I'm sorry. Here.
Yeah.
No, but I totally understand. Of like, I don't know where my line is with your kids because. The end of the day, I take care of them. You know, I feed them, I clothe them, I do whatever, but they're still yours. Like they're not my kids.
Yeah.
And you know, there is a certain line, and then that puts pressure on a relationship. And honestly, it was really cool to kind of see that in a movie where there was that respect between the main two, where she was like, "I would love it if you took more of an interest, not interest, but more." Of I want you to be upset with them because I don't want you to always just be their friend. We're both parenting.
Yeah.
She sped ran the stepfather initiation essentially with the whole like, yeah, just be a jerk. Yeah. Like, let's go for it. And she kind of, now that you're saying it, she does this kind of thing where she doesn't really get involved in the kids' antics.
Yeah.
And she was just kind of like, deal with it yourself. And it kind of leaves Paul Rudd's character to basically be the helping hand when needed to. No, yeah, it's a good dynamic. Overall, score for this movie, and would you recommend it to people?
Yeah.
What's your score?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's a yeah out of 10?
Yeah, okay, so it's out of 10?
Uh-huh.
I give it a solid 7.5. I enjoyed it. I think anyone that has, like you said, has seen Afterlife will automatically know how to pick it up from here and stuff like that. Plus, who hasn't seen Afterlife? It's been out for a couple of years.
There's some people that haven't.
Then they.
I don't understand you walking into a sequel of a movie and then going like, I don't understand this movie. Yeah. No wonder why you don't understand this movie. You didn't go see the first one.
No.
Why would you think that you were going to understand a sequel?
Yeah, it's not a Marvel movie.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
That makes no sense.
No. But I feel it's so funny because I remember when Afterlife came out and then a couple like months afterwards, there were some people that were hard pressed on not watching Afterlife because to them the first one was it. Like that was it. But I think that was coming up after the SNL version of it.
It's so funny.
The Melissa McCarthy one.
Yeah. So funny, yeah. You know, it's funny you mentioned that because Mandy's mom has been on this kick of like watching movies that came out years ago, and then some of them are not good, but you know, or had no chance of making another one. She watched the all female one. No, the all female one.
It's the SNL cast.
Yeah, and then she was like, "How come they didn't make another one?" And I'm like, "Because it didn't do well. It didn't do well critically, financially. It tanked." She goes, "So that's why they're not going to do it?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's why they did Ghostbusters Afterlife." You know, and it's just funny. I think she said the same thing for. Oh, she just got done watching The Amazing Spider-Man 2. And then when she watched it, she's like, "So where's the third one?" I'm like, "There is no third one."
Because the second one blew.
Yeah, the second one did terrible at the box office. It got bad reviews. And she's like, "Why is everything I like don't get another sequel?" I'm like, I don't know.
You know what? It happens, man.
You know what? Show her Firefly.
Oh my God, that's torture.
Show her Firefly.
Don't even.
And be like, that way she can go like, "Man, put on second season."
Yeah. You know what? Show her Castle or Heroes.
Oh man.
Why?
So that way she can like, once it gets bad, she'll like see if she sees when it gets bad.
Yeah.
No, man. Show her which one? Supernatural. She'll be busy for months.
Supernatural. No, Supernatural went. No, did Supernatural have a bad?
No. Well, okay. So originally Supernatural was 1 through 5 seasons. That was it. And then when they wrapped it up, the studio was like, "Hey,
you want to come back?
Want to do one more?" And they're like, "We kind of ended it." But you left in that little. But they left a little cliffhanger, just like a little bit, like, we could
come back.
We could. But the studio was like, "Oh, no, do it," because season 5 got so much, buzz over it. That's why.
Yeah.
That's how it was originally written.
Didn't Supernatural do 10 seasons or something like that?
No, it did 13 or 14 seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
5 seasons.
Hold on.
Was it?
Supernatural is a supernatural event. All right. It not only survived time changes, it survived different days of the week. It survived everything to then make it to 14
It started from
seasons.
2005 and then ended 3 years ago, like 2021.
Yeah.
So honestly, kudos to them.
Supernatural
The
is
fact
the
that the
definition.
Winchesters failed after one season is amazing.
Well, Supernatural had to endure the writer strikes.
Yeah.
Like you said, multiple
season
different
3.
days of changes and time changes. Competition from the CW picking up shows from
dropping them, picking them up.
Exactly.
It was It was in the same time night as Smallville. It was Smallville at 8 o'clock on Thursdays, and then at 9 o'clock it was Supernatural right after.
You know which episodes of
Supernatural lasted 2 different DC TV series.
Oh, it did.
Because it lasted all the way through Smallville, and it also beat Arrow and the Flash.
You know what parts of Supernatural I liked? When they did the Grimm fairy tales.
Oh yeah, they did those.
Best one's still Scooby Doo.
Oh, they do a Scooby Doo one. Then they do a one where basically they go into a different realm. They do multiverse jumping, but they went to a different multiverse where basically the show they were on a show called Supernatural.
That was a good one.
Wait, the Scooby Doo one was animated, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that was really good. But I love the Grimm ones because I love when the Grimm fairy tales are actually like scary.
Yeah.
And so when Supernatural did, it's like, yeah, that was pretty good. Nick, what'd you think of a Frozen Empire score, and would you recommend?
Yeah, I'd give it same thing. I would say 7.5. I think it's a solid movie. I enjoyed the hell out of it. The entire movie, honestly, I was never, at no point did I go, "Man, this movie's dragging," or that second act really didn't do well. I enjoyed the whole movie. Like, I really enjoyed it. I mean, would I recommend it to somebody? If you've seen one, yeah. Like,
Afterlife.
If you've seen Afterlife, then yeah. I mean, if you've seen 1, you probably saw 1 and 2 because anybody I've ever talked to who saw Afterlife, then that hadn't seen 1 and 2 went, now I want to go see 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Because they talked up 1 and 2 so much.
Yeah.
And so I would definitely say Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. I'm excited. I was telling him in the movie theater, I think that the next thing is Ghostbusters Inc. or Ghostbusters International.
Ghostbusters Incorporated.
Just because they're at the very end, Winston's like, "Oh yeah, we're going all over the world." You know, there's
School's Out.
Because I do feel like this is a trilogy, because from what the characters are saying is that ecto energy has been going rampant over the past couple of years, and it's been getting higher and higher and higher, and they don't know why.
Well, the ghosts are all out. All the ghosts they've captured since the 80s are out.
But that's not the only thing. He was already saying that there's been just in general, like sightings of ghosts, everything else has been on the rise.
Yeah.
And they don't know why, which means that there is something that is inciting this. There's a big bad that we don't know about.
Yeah. I will say this movie for me is a 6 out of 10. It's not that it wasn't enjoyable. I really liked it. I think for people that want to watch this movie, Afterlife is a must. It's non-negotiable.
I definitely like the villain more in this one than in Afterlife.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The villain, but I wish they could have done more with the villain.
Was it Zool or Gozer?
No.
In the first one?
In the Afterlife. It was Zool, right?
Zool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because Gozer is the second one, huh?
Yeah.
So, Afterlife is non-negotiable. Watch that one. And if you watch 1 and 2 of the original, you'll appreciate this one a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's 100% it. I will say my favorite thing about these movies are the posters. I really love Frozen Empire.
I like the one where I think I posted it on our story, where it's very drawn looking. I like that one.
These posters are sick for Ghostbusters. It's very. What's the one for Afterlife? Let me.
Oh, it was just like.
Yeah, look at that poster. It's just, it looks so good.
It's a dope poster.
Yeah, and I really they are gonna make a third one. I think. What was the budget for Frozen Empire? Let's see what it has to make back.
What it has to double?
Yeah, what it has to triple at this point. Let's be real.
No, I would say double.
They didn't market it. They didn't market it as much.
No, and most of it was little things that you could get at AMC, because you can get a plushie pop figures over there.
Yeah, they knew you were going to be spending money when you walked into
the
AMC.
amount of people that came in dressed up.
That was sick.
Funny.
Yeah,
that was really sick. There was somebody with a proton pack that came.
There were two people that I saw. It was a teenager who's probably a teenager and a kid.
Like homemade proton packs.
Yeah.
100 million?
100
It'll
million.
do 100 million. It'll do it.
Oh, it'll triple that, but it'll triple it.
It'll
It'll end its run at 400 mil.
I can see for her.
The budget for I said to be around 100 million.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll end with 450.
This movie will definitely. It's, in all fairness, with all the garbage movies that are coming out right now.
Yeah.
It'll do fine.
Yeah, and people were still watching Dune, but it was I'm assuming there was not a lot of people in that theater.
No. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because Dune's kind of running it. It's running its course.
Yeah.
It's done. Ghostbusters is in.
Ghostbusters, well, it's got to make its money within this week.
But it's also spring break.
And then, that's true too. And then
spring
next
break.
week is Godzilla and Kong.
So I wouldn't.
Baby Kong.
Baby Kong.
Honestly, I don't have a lot of faith on that movie.
No, but like I said,
I don't think it's going to take it. I don't think it's going to take an audience away from Ghostbusters.
No, it won't.
Nah.
They're two different audiences.
But it is taking the IMAX screen.
What comes out in April? Is anything
Civil
coming
War.
out other than that?
Fall Guy.
No, that comes out in May.
Look it up. Look at April.
Well, we'll look it up afterwards because we got to close out.
Right.
Help me find the Kong or the Godzilla cup.
Okay.
For the little heads. Because I'm gonna get one too, but I want Godzilla. And if they give me King Kong, dude, no, I don't want that.
Get the crap.
Why don't you just tell them?
I don't know, because for TMNT they didn't allow me to choose.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was just here's the bucket, and then everything was wrapped up. You had to open it to check which one I got. Yeah, so I don't know if the cup will be it'll be upside down, and you'll see what little figurine you get afterwards. Because I want Godzilla.
Just tell the girl I want Godzilla. Go open them up.
Give me Godzilla. I don't want Baby Kong. I don't want King Kong. I want no Kongs.
What about Alpha?
Huh?
What about Alpha? You don't want Alpha?
Oh, it's Scar King or King Kong. No, I don't want Scar King, dude. Looks ugly. It's dumb. That's a stupid name.
Bald.
Scar King, dude. Scar King is such a stupid name for that movie. Whatever. Let's wrap up issue 191 of Keeping Up with the Nerds. Thank you so much for joining us here on this issue. Check out our website, keepingupwiththenerds.com. Check out our socials, Instagram and X.com. Check out our YouTube at keepingupwiththenerds.com or at Keeping Up with the Nerds, because that's where you guys can see the skits. It's the only place you can see the skits at the moment. And check out our audio platforms on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Podbean. Are we ready to wrap this show up?
Let's do it.
This has been Keeping Up with the Nerds, issue 191. My name is Bryan.
Nick.
Rene.
Signing out from Undercity Comics. We'll see you all next time.
Bustin' makes me feel good.